コーチとしてはまずユーリが一番好きな食べ物を知りたいな。Wow! Amazing!
名物カツ丼大盛りです。
うまいな。うますぎる。神の食べ物かこれは。
よかった。
Hello there, welcome back to another episode of Anime with Alvin. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at making the Katsudon from Yuri on Ice. This dish is somewhat of a pork cutlet bowl simmered in sauce and egg and spooned over fluffy white rice. I picked up some shokupan from a local Japanese bakery that I like. This is a sort of a daily eating bread that is used to make panko. You can use dried panko if you want, but I'm going to show you guys why I like to make my panko. I do like to trim off the crust. This is for two reasons. One, it helps the panko stay a nice snow white, and two, I get to make some snacks with it. So after tearing up the meat of some of these with parchment paper, lining them up and brushing them with just melted butter, followed by a sprinkling of granulated sugar or whatever sweetener you have around the house, then give the pan a little shake. Wait, hold up, is this salt? Ooh. Yeah, that's salt. Then I'm gonna put a little bit of salt on top because sweet and savory is king, and I will fight whoever disagrees. Unless you're really strong, in that case, I will give you a snack. Just like these guys. They're golden brown, they smell great, it's gonna be really, really good. And because we use shokupan, the bread is a little fluffier and sweeter than normal. Honestly, this is one of my favorite things about cooking. You can use the leftovers and scraps of things you're already making and turn it into something delicious for the people around you. In the show, there seems to be a cabbage condiment that pairs with the katsudon, prepared in what looks like the ohitashi style. After spending some time on the internet, it seems to be a method that infuses vegetables with an umami or savory style broth. So after giving this whole head of napa cabbage a bubble bath in just some salted boiling water, I'm gonna split it up and start the flavoring process. Here I am, sniffing the cabbage to see if it's cooked. I don't know why I did that. While the cabbage cools off, I'm making a savory broth by combining dashi, soy sauce, and mirin. If you're curious on how we made the dashi, we actually made it a while ago for the Ichiraku ramen from Naruto episode. And once that's been heated, I'm gonna go ahead and quarter the whole head of napa cabbage. That's undercooked. Okay, guess that sniffing technique did not work out so well. Back in the bubble bath you go. And once the cabbage quarters are actually cooked, I'm transferring them into a pan, which is the perfect vessel for me to pour in that wonderful broth we made. This is the cabbage's third bath of the day, and this is gonna go into the fridge where it can soak up all those great flavors. Moving on to the star of the show, the pork cutlet. I have here two really nice cuts of pork loin. I'm trimming off any chunks of fat stuck to the outside and then scoring it along the membrane and tendon on the outer rim to make sure that this does not curl up during cooking. After the chops have been prepped, I'm wrapping them both in saran wrap and, well, there's no other way to say this. I'm gonna pound my pork. Sorry, kids. Once the meat has been sufficiently flattened, I'm now gonna set up the good old breading station. That means flour in one pan, freshly made panko in the third. I'm gonna do this twice, once with our fresh panko and once with the dry panko. I just realized I forgot to season the pork, so I'm gonna see this one is frying up a little bit differently. The crust is staying a little closer to the pork and it is still beautiful, but very, very, very different in texture compared to the fresh panko. While the two cutlets hang out for a little bit, let's check on the cabbage. It's now cooled, which means it is ready to slice. I'm taking out one of the quarters and cutting the stem and the tip off. This piece right here makes about 3 really nice segments, which means it's a snack for me. Ooh, that's good. In the show, this seems to be plated up with a very tight rolled up standing configuration, so I'm gonna try to find which segment can fit that the best. Once I found the prettiest girl at the prom, I'm gonna start making the sauce for the katsudon. All right, time to bring everything together. I'm making a sweet and savory sauce with dashi, soy, mirin, and sugar to cook everything together. I'm gonna heat this sauce in a small pan along with some sliced onions. And while the onions soften and relax in their flavor bath, I'm cutting up the pork cutlet into slices. And after a few minutes, I'm placing the pork right in the middle. And you're probably wondering, man, you're kind of ruining the crispy exterior that you just made. And you'd be right, but I don't think the point of this dish is to eat a crispy pork cutlet. What I see here is a chance for that wonderful breading to absorb the sauce and the flavors of everything that we're gonna throw in here. And one of my favorite things about katsudon is the egg that goes on top. To avoid getting arrested, I only partially beat my egg. This will help create these white and yellow streaks across the pork when it's done. The egg not only serves as a flavor binder between the pork, the sauce, and the onions, but also acts as a sponge to absorb any of the excess sauce. And while this steams for roughly 30 seconds, I'm getting a bowl ready with fluffy, beautifully marbled streak over the entire dish. This is the tricky part. The goal is to transfer everything in this pan on top of the rice. And with a little bit of shaking and a little bit of wiggle wiggle and hope, I present to you our version of katsudon. And to go with our katsudon, the ohitashi cabbage with a little bit of bonito flakes on top. One final touch for the katsudon, 3 perfectly green peas on top. Not really sure why, but it looks really pretty. This is my first time ever making katsudon, and if I do say so myself, I'm pretty proud of the way it turned out. It looks pretty good. The egg has absorbed the sauce and binds really well with the onions and the pork, and honestly, I'm just really excited to dig in. If you looked up comfort food in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, there should be an entry for katsudon, because this is exactly what it is. Eggs, pork, soy sauce, onions, over a bed of fluffy rice. Oh, that cabbage is nice too. You could serve this dish to anybody in the world besides vegans, and they'd be like, man, this slaps. So without further ado, I'm gonna go enjoy this by, oh, wait, just kidding. Looks like some people are hungry in the studio. We should feed them, because that's what I like to do.